You're driving before you think about Cooper, before you think about Mary or the block or the day's tasks. You place yourself in the wider frame. Most of the people you're about to spend the day with are half asleep. They're running pre-modern loyalty scripts, modern productivity scripts, postmodern cynicism scripts, all simultaneously, none consciously. You are not better than them, but you are awake to the game they don't know they're playing. That's not arrogance. That's Matthew's sober recognition that these cultural forces are greater than any of us and are at play whether we acknowledge them or not. You acknowledge them. That's your advantage and your burden. The enchantment enters here. What story am I living today? Not Cooper's story about output, not Mary's story about availability, not your parents' story about gratitude and subservience. Your story, the shaman who ciphers, who prays in silence, who speaks from the pulpit when the moment demands it. The Mambi outline is your shield if you are too well connected. You stop thinking. The closed door, the focus block, the solitude, these aren't accommodations. They're the conditions under which your thinking stays your own. You're protecting the very faculty that makes you valuable. The enlightened folk will wander as lost as others, but they will be fully there. You don't have to arrive at Cooper with a perfect plan or a regulated nervous system. You arrive present, which is different from prepared. Movement, the void in the body. Now you drop from the cultural frame into your own body. The void practice here isn't about emptying out. It's about widening the gap between the thinking impulse and the sensorial field. The day hasn't started yet. The stories about what Mary will do, what John expects, whether the block will hold, those are projections, not reality. They have a certain solidity but are without true fixedness. You breathe with that recognition, not to dissolve the stories but to loosen their grip so that when reality arrives, you're responding to what's actually happening rather than to what you rehearsed in your head. The body piece. Drop attention to the gut. Not to find calm, to find the animal. The thing that wants to live, wants to assert, wants its territory. Matthew's line about emotions is brilliant, non-coercive bodily energy. That's what you're locating. The anger isn't in the head analyzing who wronged you. It's in the belly as a warm, heavy readiness. You're not summoning it to use right now. You're confirming it's there the way you check that a tool is in your belt before climbing. Movement to selfing in the arming. This is where Matthew's framework gets supplemented by what Matthew himself often can't deliver. You now deliberately reconstruct the self-narrative in its most useful form. Not the dissolution of self, the assertion of self. Matthew concedes this. A reasonably strong sense of self is necessary for navigating the world, and this presents us with a question about the development or preservation of aspects of selfhood. You're answering that question every morning. You name your values, not as abstractions, as specific commitments. For today, I close my door at 9:30, I hold it. If Mary knocks, I say I'll get to that at 11 from my gut, not from my head. If I feel the shame rise, I breathe into the belly where the anger lives and I hold position. This is the Type 5 designing the drill. The specificity matters because under flooding, your prefrontal cortex won't generate this in real time. It has to already be loaded. The anger on tap activation. You recall a specific moment. Sherry's entitlement this morning, Mary's laundry list that topped your whiteboard, the alliance secretary laughing at your closed door. And you let yourself feel angry about it. Not analyzing it. Not forgiving it. Feeling the heat of that was a violation and I did not deserve it. Robert Masters' practice, stay present with the anger without acting on it, without deflecting it into shame or analysis. Just hold it in the body as energy available for use. When you arrive at Cooper, that energy is in your belt next to the tool you confirmed in movement too. You don't walk in anger, you walk in armed. The exposure element. When you do speak today, when you do assert, you're exposing a collective factor of being your need for focused time isn't personal pathology. It's a human need that most people have anesthetized themselves against. When you close that door, you're not just protecting yourself, you're demonstrating that a different way of working is possible. That's the preacher in you. The assertion isn't selfish. It's an act of truth-telling that the system needs even if it doesn't know it yet.